I am your host, the man they call Toast, and welcome back to VR Viking. This is a recent stream recap. So I recently played Silicon Rising, a cyberpunk shooter from Cougar Game. I bought it, reviews look positive, and hey, I'm always on board to try a new VR experience, especially after getting blown away by Boneworks and getting super hyped for Half-Life Alyx. Oh my god, I want to play this game so bad. But Silicon Rising was kind of a disappointment from the start. The game has only a few missions, which made me feel from the get-go that it was either going to be unfinished or unpolished, or a mix of the two, or it was going to be insanely difficult, because that's sometimes what developers do to cover the fact that they didn't put a large amount of content in. Looking at you, Sekiro, Shatters Die Twice. This game had a very arcade feel, in the way that you teleported from scene to scene. That's not a bad thing at all. Superhot VR does this really well. But for Silicon Rising, it felt so awkward, particularly because you would teleport into 3- and 4-way intersections, standing there exposed on all sides for seemingly no reason. But the worst of it was the sniper mission. This is only the second mission, and it really was the game killer. It was so incredibly hard for a few reasons. First, the sniper scope is super awkward. Some games like Gun Club VR handle scopes really well, and they respond accurately to the angle of your eye when you're using them. Silicon Rising unfortunately took what seems like the easy way, making the end of the scope like a camera monitor, showing whatever is visible on the end of the gun, but magnified, which actually made the scope incredibly awkward and super inaccurate. It doesn't help that sometimes a perfectly lined up shot will miss, while a skewed off-center shot will count as a headshot. Second, despite the fact that your objective is to cover your comrade, Captain Wears Too Much Mascara, the arrows telling you where to look only point at her, so you have to constantly look around just to figure out where the enemies are. And third, it is prohibitively difficult. Even on its easiest setting, the inaccuracy I mentioned before is so brutal. One shot through a window is mission failure, so you basically have to wait for a bad guy to not be standing in front of a window, or risk having to start the entire mission over. And then, of course, is the complete lack of instructions on this level. You get told things like, behind the wall.
I think there's a guard behind the wall.
Or, somewhere nearby.
These guys are too close. Take them out ASAP.
And it's so vague you might as well not get instructions at all. Oh, but you do. Repeatedly. Whatever your last useless instruction was, you'll get it every 10 seconds until you progress.
These guys are too close. Take them out ASAP. Take them out ASAP. Take them out ASAP. 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 ASAP.
It's super annoying and makes concentration really, really hard. As if I did not have enough bad things to say about this level, the snipers who start shooting at you make it even worse, because every shot they make causes your screen to flash. This isn't so bad on PC, but when you're in VR, your whole screen flashes and it's disorienting, and I almost lost my balance once. What Silicon Rising did right, it did okay. What it did wrong, it did really, really wrong. If you like Time Crisis type arcade shooter games, you might like this game, at least the first level. But I think even arcade shooter enthusiasts will have problems getting past the ridiculous problems with the second level of this game. For the moment, it really doesn't do anything to even meet expectations, let alone anything groundbreaking for the medium. If you want an arcade-style VR shooter game, I can't recommend enough Gun Club VR for its realistic guns and mechanics, or Superhot VR for its wild, bullet-hell John Wick-style experience. But Silicon Rising is going to have to be a hard pass from this point out. This has been a stream recap. Make sure to check out my stream at fb.gg/dorktoast and follow me on all these other places as well. I have been your host, the man they call Toast. Allow me to play you out.